All right, I think we're good. I think we're alive. Did I? No, this is the wrong title. What happens if I change it now? VRAM Allocator Part 2. Hi, hello, welcome. Sure, let's keep the same description because I'm lazy. I think this is good. I'm just going to quickly listen to my volume. I think I'm still a little quiet, but we'll see how I go. This, unfortunately, may just be a fact of life. I have the gain cranked on my microphone. I'm like shouting into my microphone. I can't go any higher without clipping, without doing more like... Actually, hold on. Wait, it's this slider. It's this slider. Okay. My volume slider was down, but this is literally as loud as OBS will allow me to go. What about pulse mixer? Where am I going? This one. Yeah, this is like cranked. Let's see how this goes. Retro Panda, welcome. Thank you for swinging in. I'm just going to quickly dump a link to this stream in my wonderful Discord chat. Actually, I can probably just use the same stream link as last time. Let's do a bit of copy and paste. Oh no! See, YouTube gives you a unique link, I think, for every stream, which is interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. It's harder to link to what you're doing at the moment. But that's fine. Let's go share, copy, paste. If you're not in my Discord, it's a good time. It's a good place to be. Announcements. Announcements. Cool. And let's paste in this, and then we'll start writing some code, because we've got stuff running on the PlayStation 2. As always, as usual, our goal is to build cool things on the PlayStation 2. Pretty exciting. Alright, so, do we all remember what was happening last time? Because I certainly do, and I think I said I was going to deal with it off camera, and I forgot. So this is running on a PlayStation 2 emulator, runs on real hardware as well, we're hardware verified. Do I have data coming through the pipe? Yeah, looks like we're healthy. Looks like our stream's healthy. Yeah, sure, this is good. So we can move around in this little tile map world. As we go to the east, we're going to hit a point where we're going to load a new zone in dynamically there. When that happens and the little jitter happens. And then we get a second map that we can move around in. It's the same as the first map, but in the future I'll make it more interesting. I probably should make this more visually interesting just so I can see. But as you can see, as we move back to the left or the west, the game's going to start to crawl. And if we start to go back to the right again, it's going to start to crawl even more. And it's just going to continue to slow down as we go back and forward, presumably because we're never actually drawing everything, right? Oh, we're trying to draw everything. We're never stopping drawing things. Stephen Ferris, welcome. Yeah, great to see you here. Glad you've been watching some of my videos. I will try and explain PlayStation 2 concepts as best as I can. Please ask questions as I go. So, the goal of today is to work out what we're doing. We tackled VRAM allocation last time, and I drew some very pretty pictures about how my VRAM allocator was going to work, and the VRAM allocator works. It works very well in this case because all of our scenes are using just one set of textures. Kind of as a proof of concept, I guess it's okay. But actually, interestingly, it looks like, where's this? Allocated texture in VRAM. See, this is surprising, but I actually think allocated is the wrong word here. I suspect we're doing something that is not allocation, because you're going to see that every single time, or maybe we're allocating. Anyway, that doesn't really matter. The important thing is that we're dynamically loading our textures into VRAM to draw every single time they're drawn every single frame, which sounds inefficient, but it really isn't in this case, and also it's really the only way we can reasonably use the PlayStation 2 to its fullest capacity. So, interestingly, there's like this little spot in the middle of our two zones here, where we start to go fast, and then it slows down. Or just like a little bit of time. So there's something temporal to this, and that makes it really interesting to start to dig into. So let's have a look at maybe our scene manager. Because we have this scene logic for how we reload a scene, how we load a scene, and how we render a scene. So maybe every frame... Actually, do you know what else is a good idea? I think every scene should have some kind of unique identifier so that we can log what we're drawing. And then we can actually see, you know, every frame, how many different scenes did we draw? That would kind of make sense, right? So in main, we have a very dumb main loop. It doesn't have much of this logic in it. It does manually call into scene swap, which is a little bit dubious, but that's okay. We manage this just with a variable that's either 1 or 0. Little bit dubious as well, but that's okay. And we call this game render. So game render. It really shouldn't be doing more than one thing, more than two things, I guess. Like either this or this. Let's log debug draw scene A, and this is going to spam our logs a bit, but that's okay. That's what debug logging is for. And then we always expect to see C get drawn, so this should always print draw scene A, draw scene B, draw scene A, draw scene C, or draw scene B, draw scene C. And let's just see what happens. The console output, unfortunately, is unreadable. Okay, we get a lot of Bs. Actually, yeah, this console output is unworkable. So let's just do this. I've recently learned about the joys. So, okay, interestingly, it seems like we're drawing a lot of scene B. And then if we come over here, we're drawing a lot of scene A, but I don't know where C is in the middle. I would expect this to say draw scene A, draw scene C. Okay, very interesting. Because what's extremely interesting about this is that scene A and scene B are not contiguous. So this is the start of scene. Okay, this is too hard to explain when our scenes are identical. This is actually a problem. So let's. When do we allocate? When do we set up these scenes? We do this in main, don't we? Yeah, we load them in main. So when the program starts, test room and knit. Okay. So let's find our test room, and let's maybe give it like a style or something. Let's get rid of this lake. That's gonna be fine. Let's say, let's make a list of grass tiles, like tiles that we want to put down on the background layer, and let's make a list of which is gonna be that doesn't quite work, does it? Because we're using this 3, 5. Let me just pick some dumb numbers. We're just going to improve our level generation here real quick. We're going to dive into an unrelated problem because this is the kind of thing I like to do. Let's just pick what are we saying? TWX is, God, I hate trying to remember. Okay, yeah, tile width, tile height. So 3 and then, well, let's say 3, 6. So 3. Do you know what's probably easier even? Is do you know what's probably even easier actually is to just use our actual tools to view our tile set. So where are we? Oh, I've probably got a, yep, there we go. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. I guess this is like 22. So 0, 22, 44, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. Is that right? 71, 72, 73. Let's do that for now. That should at most be off by not that much. 71, 72, 73. Cool. And let's actually just quickly do the same thing again for the sand. Oh, and hold on, I was off by 1. Very classic error. So if this is 86, 86? So this is 87. So 21, 42, 63. Is this right? 63, 84. No, that's not right. I don't know. I've done something weird here. I'm off by 1. 0, 21, 42, 63. Oh, yeah. 84, 85. Yeah, and then I add 1 because it's Lua. Okay. Like a Boss, welcome. This is a PlayStation 2 top-down adventure game in its very early stages. I'm doing some kind of core level streaming stuff at the moment. I'm just tweaking my level, my scene generation, so that I can then go in and what am I saying? So that I can go in and work out why I'm getting slowdown when I'm trying to load different things and move around in what will hopefully be an expansive open world. So 86 plus 21 is 107, 8, 9. 109 in conclusion. 109 and 110. Okay. Scene extend. That's okay. We're just gonna, so we're gonna have a grassy scene, we're gonna have a sandy scene, that's gonna be fine. So the idea is that we're gonna have a list of tiles here, and we're gonna go through and populate them. So it'll be like pick a random tile from whatever is in our tiles and put it here, and then we're going to do the same thing except with some random probability, and it's just even going to be simpler than this. For everything we're going to have a chance to again set a random tile, except for rather than taking from our list of tiles, we're going to have a list of deco tiles, which are like the decoration tiles on an overlay layer. Gonna be simple. So, and this is much better. This doesn't rely on the actual layout of our tile set anymore, which is good. If TT is not nil, I guess, maybe, then, haven't written Lua for a while, so my muscle memory is a little bit off. Because it's going to be possible for this to have no length. So we're just going to have like a nice local function. Pick random. So how do we do this? We want a random number between, well, no, we want a random number between 1 and the actual length of the array, as opposed to 0 and the length of the array minus 1, because Lua is 1 indexed. Texture loading at runtime is slow. Tried showing an animation like a flipbook, stuttering quite a lot. Texture loading at runtime is slow on the PlayStation 2. This is correct. Streaming a texture into VRAM at during render is fast. But yeah, loading things, holy crap, it is extremely slow on the PlayStation 2. I/O, you have to be extremely careful. Using your own image format's fun. But yeah, if you look at PlayStation 2 games, I was actually doing some reverse engineering of Kingdom Hearts, the assets used in that game, and that uses an image format called TW2, which is seemingly a PlayStation 2 specific format. So your image file comes with the register values in the GS associated with it. Turns out setting wrong register values, it's so easy to set wrong register values. If you find the streams where I first did texturing, it was just an absolute mess. I think I found a bug in PCSX2 as well, though, that I reported, or like a really weird edge case that just like wasn't quite being handled properly. I don't know if it was like a bug. Lua. Yes, RetroPanda, Lua. My language of choice for hacking together scripts. It's extremely fast, it's extremely flexible. In a PlayStation 2 context, it's not the fastest. There are probably, you know, if you want to like hand roll your own very optimized Lisp and go the Andy Gavin route, that's probably better. Don't know, just found a bit of schmutz on my desk. But for me, for now, this is kind of good. So I need to remember how to get the length of a an array. I think it's just hash, right? So let's go random. How does math random work? Now it's different in different versions of Lua. I think this is what always confuses me. Depending on the version of Lua you're working with, because Lua is always embedded in things, depending on the version of Lua embedded in the program you're scripting for, math random. I mean, let's do the safe thing and multiply by the length of the array. Is this right? Is this right? This feels right. Yeah, okay, like a boss says his textures work in PCSX2, just not in hardware. I had a very similar issue. It was to do... What was it? I think it was literally setting the width and height, right? The width and height fields of the register. PCSX2 just seemed to be more lenient with it. I recommend checking the text 0 and text 1 registers extremely carefully, like with a fine-toothed comb. The masking was just really fiddly. Yeah, okay, this should be fine. So, and then we want to add 1 to this because we're 1 indexed, and then we return r, except if the length of the array is 0, then return nil. And this is going to be just the most rudimentary thing. We could be more thorough with this, but that's okay. So now we just need, when we initialize a scene, and grass deco tiles. Sorry, got to remember the order I put things in. If my typing looks bad today, it's because it's very cold. My fingers are very chilly, and it's hard to move my fingers. If style is sand, we're just going to use very dumb logic here. Tiles deco is sand. Sand deco tiles, and then we're just gonna say tiles is tiles deco is deco, and we're just gonna run this. We're not gonna think too hard about it, and it's gonna blow up, of course, right? Because, you know, that's what happens when you try and run things without doing too much thinking. But sometimes it just works, and you save yourself a bit of extra effort. Okay, what goes wrong? Attempt to get the length of a nil value array. So we're not properly setting these to anything, maybe? Set meta table, tiles. Sand tiles, blah, blah, blah. R.tiles, R. Again, I have forgotten what I've actually named things literally 3 seconds ago. That's fine. So, okay, I've still got an issue. Length of a nil value. This is coming from... Annoyingly, I don't get the full traceback, because I just get line 20, and line 20 just says here. So, I guess the other thing I could say is if r is nil or that, then return nil, but this also is not going to work well for me. It's going to run... or not, still, or? Does Lua? I thought Lua did the word or. Is it dash P? I think it's dash P. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that did work this time. So... we get back into the game, but because we never set our tiles properly, we never actually like put any tiles down in our scene, and I just quit Vim, which is annoying. So let's go back to the test room. Thank you. These are nil for some reason. Tiles. Grass tiles. Tiles. See, this is the kind of fun thing. Bob caught a stream. Welcome. Yeah, I'm streaming at really erratic times lately. My life is a little bit all over the place. Just doing what I can, you know, just doing what I can. Cool. Yeah, it's been a bit weird. I have been quite unwell for the last few weeks, well, for the last like week, I guess, and then we had people staying with us, and it's just been a bit of a time. It's been a bit of a time. Do excuse me for 1 second. And we're back. Sorry about that. Cool. But yeah, Bobbius, what time zone are you in? I'm always interested to hear what time zones my viewers are in, because then I can actually think about, you know, what time zone I should maybe stream in. What does this say? Attempted to concatenate a nil value. Of course. And I really need to remember not to quit Vim. This is one of my my resolutions. Why is this nil? What's going on? Okay, hold on. Running this from within Vim is just always a bad time. Bad, sad time. Concatenate a table value. Okay, but so it works here, right? So here, when we call init, this is so annoying. This is not what I expected to get caught up on in this stream. When we call init, this is okay. I guess the other thing I should probably do is just be more correct. Get seen other. When we call this game set scene, active scene A. So when we call, but it's when we call init that. No, it isn't. It's when we call, wait, when does fill get called? Fill gets called on reload. GMT -4, wow. So that is over 12 hours away from me. That's incredible. I'm in GMT +10. It's a big gap. It's always hard having Americans wanting to consume your content. Self dot. Wait, hold on. Did I do something dumb? I did. I did something very dumb. Nice. Okay, there we go. That explains it. I was using the wrong thing. For some reason, I just was thinking about the name. I don't know. That's really dumb. But that's okay. Sometimes you have to make dumb mistakes. This is how you make progress. I always have people coming in these streams and being like, wow, you're so smart, I could never do this. And then I'm like, man, have you ever seen me forget how to write Lua? That's good. This is how you learn. This is how you learn. Okay, so this blew up much more aggressively than usual. I'm pretty sure I want P. Load files do not generate output. Yes. So Lua. So we're going to use the Lua compiler as like a checker here. And I'm going to... Well, I know what file is causing issues, right? It's room.test. So we're just going to go straight to the source. And it's telling us line 77, we've missed a closing bracket, except we're not going to run a new instance of Vim, we're going to connect to our old running one. Because we don't need this anymore. Let's just luac it for good measure. That's not what I wanted. Okay, here we go. Still not quite. Still not quite. What has happened? I accidentally paused it, that's what happened. Cool. Oh, Canada. Bob, I'm so sorry, Bob. Americans really dislike it. Canadians really dislike it when I call them Americans. Nice. GMT +7, that's a bit closer to home. I also can't imagine where that is. Is that like Central Asia? Or like East Asia, I guess. Yeah, sometimes you just, like, when you work with a lot of different languages, like I was writing some Rust the other day, you know, I do a bit of this and a bit of that. A bit of this and a bit of that. It's good. It's good. Dev from Costa Rica, you've been pondering the idea of open source PS2 game. Yeah. I mean, it's an ambitious goal, over in UTC -6. Ambitious goal to make something like big open world in 3D. But it's a fun goal to try and tackle, right? The PlayStation 2 is a very resource-constrained system. If you want to do low-level engineering, low-level programming, and what is basically an embedded system and solve really hard problems, it's a lot of fun. Jakarta, lovely. I watched a movie set, I believe, in Jakarta last night, an Indonesian movie. So that's good. I've had Jakarta on the brain. Bobby still doesn't understand lifetimes. Well, I'm going to do some Rust streams. I've got a project. I want to write a Lisp in Rust. And so that deals with quite a lot of lifetime stuff. I had a bit of a play, and the borrow checker yelled at me a lot, and so I'm going to throw everything I've done out, start again, do it on stream, get some feedback, hopefully get some Rust people in who can share experience. I think that would be fun. Cool. So, what's going wrong? What has happened? Somehow we're still not putting any tiles down. If R is nil... So let's get rid of this. We should never have a nil array here, right? We don't care about safety checking here. We want this to explode if we're passing it nil. We want it to tell us that we're passing it nil. Here's another thing that I'm going to do for now. My mistake. I'm going to get rid of this awful logging. There we go. Cool. What movie did I watch? I watched The Raid and The Raid 2. I watched both of them, double feature. Wonderful guess. That was so good. Incredible. I feel like this is like probably the go-to Indonesian movie that everyone who's moderately interested in movies have seen. So maybe you're sick of hearing that people have seen an Indonesian movie and then that movie was The Raid, but really, really good. Really, really good. YOI Dollars, welcome. Glad you are enjoying, well, glad you're finally able to catch one. I've got a copy of Crafting Interpreters by Rob Nystrom, and I really recommend it if anyone's interested in programming languages. I haven't done much from it yet, but I've read bits. I'm going to tackle the garbage collector section on one day, maybe do some of it on stream. I recommend The Raid. The Raid is a really good movie. The Raid 2, I think, is a less good movie, but a very enjoyable movie. Or maybe a better movie, but like has less charm. I don't know. I love low budget martial arts stuff. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun. Okay, so not a lot being logged here that's going to help us, but let's see, maybe even just, let's just make a dumb function here that's going to dump for, I'm just going to make a function that's going to dump all the values of a list, right? So we'll go out equals out concatenate with the value of v, and then a comma. And this means we'll always have a trailing comma, but that's okay. Do. Cool. So let's log debug. Did I say deco tiles or tiles deco? This is very confusing. Deco tiles. This is why consistent rules are very good for naming things. Make a run. Okay, let's see what this says. Tiles. So it knows that there are tiles. That's good. That's good. That's very good. This is what we want to see. So the right values are coming through here. That's good. Let's make this a little bit more descriptive as well. Okay. Okay. Somehow this is not giving us back what we expect. So let's do the next thing again. And this is going to say select tile equals nil a bunch of times. I already know, but I just need to confirm that this is what's happening. Nil. So this is good. This is good. So somehow this is coming back with nil. I actually think I can probably get rid of this line and it's safe. So let's go again. Log debug. We expect the random number to be in the range 0 to the length of the array. This is where languages with really good debuggers come in handy, and that is not what I get from Lua, unfortunately. Okay. That's definitely not what I want to do. Is there a way I can make Vim's like terminal output be less janky? Oh. Okay. I have made a very silly mistake that's very avoidable, and I want to see if anyone in the chat can work out what it is. It's right on screen. It's right there. I put this to you. I give you like 10 more seconds while I have a drink of tea. Okay. So, when you're indexing an array, what do you use? Sorry, I keep trying to change scene. That doesn't work here. What do you use when you index an array? You use a number, right? Well, this gives us a number between 0 and 1. I'm missing something from this, which is math.floor. Actually, I can put the +1 after the floor. That feels more correct. So now I'm actually going to get just like an integer, which actually makes sense to index an array with. But because these are tables, right, you actually can index them, you know, with whatever you want. Lua is just very flexible like that. So hopefully, as I move through here, we're going to see 2 grassy scenes, and now we're going to load what is hopefully going to be a sandy scene. No, another grassy scene. That's okay. That's okay. We've done something wrong. We've done something wrong. That's the theme of today, okay? It's the theme of today. I could kind of see that was going to happen because I could see all of the printouts saying selected tile 86. And we have to run this not like that. Non-integer random number, that's Lua being permissive about things. Exactly. Okay, so we're gonna hopefully see... but we initialize these all at the same time, don't we? So that doesn't really work. Oh no, that's fine. Okay, so fill test room, it only gets called as it gets loaded. Fill test room, and it's the wrong tiles. So that's good. That's good to know. So in main... Oh... wrong bracket pairing. This was getting passed as a parameter to get seen other rather than to init. And actually, I think probably what makes more sense here than anything is to say, maybe not an error, maybe an error, maybe this is an error. Let's just be like really, actually, do you know what's probably even better again? Just make this a map, right? Make this a map and let the style be an index into it. And actually, let's put it up here. Okay, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa. I've just had a much better idea for how to do this. Let's go. Let's just call this tiles. Grass is gonna be, so when we're putting tiles down in a grassy room, we use tile 86. When we're putting tiles down in a sandy room, we put down that I just changed the keyboard layout of my keyboard. That was a mistake. 71, 72, or 73. And then when we're decorating a room, we have the same kind of thing, the same kind of split. Except I did the wrong thing, which again is the theme of today. For sand, it should be 109 or 110. I'm not even sure that those are the right tiles at this point, but that will be okay. 71. And just for clarity, I guess let's make this empty list. Okay. This is better, this is better. So let's go tiles, tiles, style. Isn't this way nicer? Yeah, okay, perfect, perfect. And now this should also, yeah, yell at us if we do it wrong at the start. So, let's see. Moment of truth, moment of truth. Are we gonna see a different kind of room get initialized? Oh, what does it say? Yeah, this looks good. Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, we've got a little sandy desert. Incredible. What if I just, hold on, let me bring the editor over. Oh, actually, no, the editor doesn't work with this multiple zone loading stuff. That's okay. Do I have a little 94, okay. We're gonna add a decoration as well. I'm getting a little distracted and making things pretty, but this is gonna be okay. We're just gonna say 94. Okay, do we do it? Is this it? Is this all I need? This is just a tool to help us demonstrate what we're doing when we're loading different zones, right? Yeah, cool, 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 cool. Bob, he agrees. Having less if statements around this is probably a very good thing. Cool. And now we just have another thing. There's just way too many rocks, but that's okay. We can tweak this stuff later, right? This is just for demonstration purposes. So this boundary probably looks like where we load. And again, is there another tile that we could probably use for this? Maybe I just fill it with water or something. Or or just like stairs. Maybe I just do a third style, which is filled with tile 28. Just so I can see the 3 zones, because the way I'm talking about it is kind of like there's 2 zones. Water. What did I just say? Did I just say 28, or did I say 38? No, or did I say? That doesn't make sense. What did I just say? Shit. Let's go 28, because 26? I literally don't remember the number I just said. I think it was 28, or 27, or 26. Man, that's really bad. My short-term memory is not working today. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens. Oh, and I need to actually use it as well. Cool, cool, cool. So the connector scene is going to be filled with water. Okay, let's see what happens. Hopefully, hopefully. Okay, that's a really ugly tile, but that's okay. This still demonstrates. So this is our connector. This joins our grassy scene with our sandy scene. And weirdly enough, oh no, here's the slowdown. Here comes the slowdown. So as we move back and forward, we hit the midpoint of the connector and we're fine. But here, it seems like, and I really can't tell why. I can't tell what's going on. I typed 27, not 28, but I said 28. Thank you. Thank you, KKD. So I'm glad someone is paying attention here. Let's actually fix this. With the magic of Control-A, my new favorite Vim shortcut. If you don't know this one, Control-A increments a number. Extremely useful. I use it all the time. It's not really that useful, but like, I don't know, I just find myself using it a lot. Lerp colors, smooth transition. I'm doing this all just tile-based for now. Like no palettes, no dynamic coloring or anything. This is all just very fixed for now. I probably could actually just draw them different colors. I could probably make all my tiles like black, like monochrome, and do some fun blending. We can play with this stuff later. There are actually real advantages to doing like monochrome tiles that have dynamic colors. It really saves on memory needed and like, you know, storage, because you can do some really compressed. You can do like 4-bit per pixel palletized textures, so you could just have 16 monochrome values and then, you know, dynamically color all of your basic background tiles. But that's a little bit limiting. I'm not sure if that's really a path I want to go down. Bobby says that slowdown's harsh. Yeah, that slowdown is insane. So I need to work out what's going on. And it happens, I guess it happens when we swap, right? So when we swap, where have we gone? Swap scene. Because when we swap, we have a moment, we have like half a second where the game seems to run at normal speed and then it chugs. So I guess my first theory is that unload may not actually be unloading everything properly. So we need to go to our scene, our kind of parent class, even though this isn't really object-oriented. Unload. What does unload do? It just sets all this stuff to nil. So we're relying on the Lua garbage collector to actually tidy up after itself here, potentially. It also says loaded false. And then test room. It has an on unload. Tile map, overlay map. So we really should just be getting rid of everything. But that doesn't really explain why it would be slowing down, because, you know, even if the garbage collector isn't running, right, it doesn't make sense. Because, unless we're continuing to allocate, I guess, unless we're just like growing and growing the heap. But we come over here, and this is okay, right? We're fine here. I guess potentially we're reading the image every single time, so maybe we're just exploding our heap or something here. And maybe we need to be slightly smarter about how we're loading our texture. One thing that's actually really bothered me about my code for a while is that we have this load texture function, which does both the reading of the texture from a file into memory, the parsing of the image file, and the, you know, kind of creation of our Lua texture. I really think long term this should be like 3 different functions, right? We should have some kind of io.load file. Then we should have some kind of maybe like tga.parse file, or like tga.from file or something like that. And then we finally have tile set is new texture, which takes an image that's already loaded into memory and knows what to do with it. And I feel like that would give us a lot more flexibility, because then we can say, hey, you know, this file is already in RAM. This could take, you know, this could rely on, or it could at least check if the asset was already in RAM rather than having this sledgehammer approach. So this is tricky. This is tricky. But I feel like this is probably the trouble line. So let's do something really dumb. Let's do something really dumb. I guess the other hard thing... The other hard thing is that... I think we need to load textures in an actual frame. I don't think we're allowed... Or are we? I guess maybe not. Let's edit one of our core files for a second. No, okay, this doesn't have to happen in a frame. That's okay. And indeed, it probably shouldn't even be part of D2D then. So let's go. Let's just make this a static thing that happens once and see if we still get slowdown from it. Actually, let's go. Let's yank this line instead of just deleting it so that I remember what's going on. If we're passing into a different representation, there's no need to keep the original file data around. That's true. I think it makes sense to separate them into two steps from my point of view, especially because we might have image formats that contain multiple images. I guess that's like one of the things in the back of my brain. You don't need to keep it around afterwards, but it might be nice to be able to make the decision. Maybe not. Maybe load and... Yeah, maybe that is always one step. I guess I'm thinking down the road as well for when I'm like streaming things a bit more dynamically. Like maybe you'll just like dump stuff into RAM somewhere else and then handle it later. I don't know. Maybe that is over optimistic. Maybe that is over optimistic. Okay, so now let's see what happens if we do this without, reloading the texture properly every time. For one thing, it shouldn't stutter as much. It's still going to stutter, but not as much. Okay, so that worked. And I bet there's no slowdown now. No, we're still chugging. Okay, well that's good, right? That's really good. That means that we don't have to rewrite a really gross part of our code. Just tell the KKD says, just tell the PS to do it faster, please. Yeah, that's kind of what I would like. That's kind of what I would like. Okay, so what else is there? What else could be happening that's slowing us down? I mean, the other thing is, are we just accumulating tile maps somewhere? Lua does have a hook so that you can kind of like grab into the garbage collector and know when it runs. So we could try that. We could try printing something when the garbage collector runs. Self.tile maps. That's really annoying. That's really annoying. The other thing as well that's worth considering, can I just dump some Lua debug information? So for example, yeah, there's a Lua function gc info. So let's try this. Let's try this. Number of kilobytes. Okay, so this is good. So there's a function called gcinfo. gcinfo. And then let's log info it. Lua heap size. I should probably use format strings for this. It's a little bit gross. Thresh equals And then we maybe want to say, maybe we should do this in game instead, because, or maybe in the editor. No, let's not touch the editor. The editor is a rat's nest in and of itself. Disable the speed limiter in PCSX2 doesn't really achieve the result of wanting this to run on hardware, unfortunately. Game on press. Why do we not do anything when we press a button here? God, it's so bad. I wrote some of this so long ago that it has just blurred into a nothing. Update pad state. Why does this not do anything? Game is game.new. Game.new. Game on press. Do nothing. Is this because I'm not actually using this interface at all and my player just talks directly to the gamepad? Yeah, it's because I'm not actually using this interface and my player just talks directly to the gamepad. Cool. Well, let's start doing this. Sorry. If B is pad dot, I don't know, if it's pad dot square, then print Lua status. We could also put a button to actually just call the garbage collector, see if that helps. Like maybe it's just never getting triggered. Okay, so where are we? If I press square, this does nothing. Probably because that's actually not wired up to anything, which is kind of funny. Yeah, we do editor on press. Pad state. Doing a lot of misc cleanup this stream, actually. Here we go. Okay. Attempted to call a nil value, global GC info. We don't have a GC info function. That's good. That's cool. Maybe this is gone in the version of Lua we're using? Maybe? What version of Lua are we using? Is it 5.2? 5.1? I'm not sure. Does any Lua experts here? Dinkleman. Such is the life of a dev. If you don't cringe at your code from half a year ago, you've learned nothing. Truer words were never spoken. I was going through some of the like really, really old... here we go. I worked it out. I was going through some of my company's really, really old code the other day, and I found some really ugly Go code from when the people who like started the code base were learning Go and initializing, you know, kind of setting up the code base as they went. And it was amazing because I was like, man, this is really inefficient code, but it literally doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it alone. Like, it works. Maybe one day, like, I've got a note to come back and clean it up at some point, but this real trade-off of, like, it's, you know, not efficient, but it's called in such a specific context that it really doesn't matter. But, man, just really bad Go code. And I know some of the people who wrote it, like, really find it painful to look at now. Okay, so instead of calling GC info, we have to call this fun function called collect garbage, which looks scary, but you call it with maybe you call count, returns the total memory used by Lua. So I don't know if we get the second parameter anymore, the second return value anymore. I also don't like this overloading. I think this is a little bit weird. But anyway, let's just see what happens when we run this. This is going to tell us how much memory we're using. Okay, and that is growing. Oh boy, that's growing. But this is in kilobytes, so that's okay, right? That's not too big. So let's jump across and load another zone and see what happens. This looks promising. Okay, and our heap size shrunk, so that's good. Now it's going to get bigger. And now when we come back, what does our heap size do? It stays pretty low, but we chug. So this chugging does not seem to relate to like heap size getting out of control or anything. And then if we come back over here, our heap size goes down and gets a little bit bigger. Okay, now we're getting into like maybe we're not cleaning up stuff properly territory. But this doesn't seem to be the culprit. We can have 200 kilobytes of Lua heap, but this is fine. We're not so resource constrained. This does appear to be growing forever though, so that might become a problem. That might become a problem. That's okay. So we appear to be picking up, what, 10 kilobytes? Which is actually quite a lot, given that I don't really know what's going on here. But anyway. The biggest, the thing that is going to slow us down is overdraw. So if we have a look, if we look at how my scene renderer works, it's actually kind of clever. All right, tile map. If we look at how our tile map renderer works, it's actually a little bit clever. It's a little bit clever. It works out the bounds and it draws pretty much just the minimum it can, right? It tries to make the fewest calls to sprite as possible because they're very inefficient. Yeah, GC info is removed. Thank you, thank you. Hello from Brazil. Welcome, William DS. A lot of Brazilian people seem very interested in the PlayStation 2, which is very cool, very exciting. Yeah, and that's very fitting because I'm writing Lua, the South American programming language. Dinkelman, biannual full project rewrite in Rust. I was talking about Rust before. I wrote Rust code and now I really like Rust, and I may have made a mistake, but here we go. I'm going down this path anyway. Maybe Rust streams in the future. There is some stuff I want to do in Rust. Okay. Ignore all the weird serialization code. This is quite disgusting. So, something is going on. I can actually log tilemap names that I draw, right? This is an interesting idea as well. What if I log debug tm render self name? Because then I can kind of do some fun things. What if I try this? What if I make run? Okay, so we can see we're rendering ground and overlay very, very rapidly. And if I come in to my tile maps, I can actually rename this to ground 1. And oh, that's not right. I can rename this to overlay 1. Overlay at 1. Okay, so we're rendering stuff. I need to go back down to play. I need to fix these menus at some point. This is too fast to be useful probably, but if I come over here, I should stop seeing the 1, I think. No, maybe, Okay, so now I have 3 layers. Okay, hold on. I'm onto something here. Okay, how many layers do I have at any given point? So I've accumulated layers. If I come back, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say I'm going to have even more layers here. If I go to tiles, layers, yeah, this is the problem. Okay, so let's go down to play. Now if I come back over here, let me guess, I have even more tile maps. Tiles, layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tile maps. Now, if I come back over here again, are we going to have 12? Are we going to have 12 tile maps? Tiles, layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So every time we do this, we're accumulating 2 extra tile maps somehow. This is good. This is it. This is literally the problem. So, when we call on swap scene swap, somehow we're never clearing our tile maps. But this is also interesting because the editor Tiles. This gets the tile maps of the current scene. But why does the current scene accumulate so many tile maps? That shouldn't happen, right? This should literally be a new scene every single time. So it really does imply that this field is not getting cleared correctly. Tile maps. Is unload not getting called? Maybe? Maybe? Is the test room maybe no? Let's log this as well. Unload scene. That's not what I wanted, is it? Wait, what triggers... If scene is not nil, then unload. Yeah, and this, we know this actually gets called, right? Because other things downstream get called. But yeah, we're very sensitive to the number of tile maps we draw. This is quite a limitation. So we're gonna see something in here about deleting unloaded scene. Yeah, unloaded the tile maps and the entities. But when we come back, yeah, we have way too many layers here. Okay, hold on. I think something's going wrong right from the start, actually, because we have too many layers just when we load in. BVH. I can't pronounce your name. I'm very sorry. That's too many consonants in a row. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. Let's foreground this. Okay, so this is where it's going wrong. So let's start at the top. Trace this down. Set scene other. If do you know what I think has happened? Do you know what I think is going on? I think this is always the thing that we're getting. I think when we call extend, I think we're not overriding this properly. Maybe, but that doesn't really make sense because test. I worked it out. Okay. So, because our room, this is hard to explain, because our room, when it reloads, when it loads all its data, there's no initial load, it's only reload, right? We only have a concept of reloading because we want it to be, you want to be able to call it lots of times. We want to be able to just say load, we don't really care. We don't have a concept of an initial load. Which this currently doesn't support. This is treating it like an initial load, but anyway, the details of that aren't super important. But we're calling table insert on self.tilemaps, right? But because we're just extending this kind of like superclass, parent, object, whatever, we're never actually setting self.tilemaps to anything other than scene.tilemaps. So it's always using this table that gets initialized here, and all of our rooms are appending onto the same list. So, and this is also never cleared, maybe not. Yeah, because when we set it here, it's going to set it on the instance, not on the parent, I believe. So we only ever set this to something on the instance when we unload. So what we need to do up here, okay, and we're not going to leave this to the room. The room shouldn't care about the parent, like the individual scene implementation shouldn't care about this. The kind of parent should manage this kind of concern. So we're going to say before we say self.unload, self.tilemaps equals empty table. If that didn't make sense, that's okay. The important thing is that when we do this, we're going to see two entrants here. And this is good. So if I go play, now we should be able to go back and forward with no slowdown. We're going to clean up our resources properly. And I imagine we're going to see better properties on the Lua heap. This is... Okay. So we're obviously missing something there. We have a bit of a void in our connector zone, but that's fine. We can do with that. Our Lua heap continues to grow. That's not ideal, but okay. But yeah, we can go back and forward and there's no slowdown. That's the good news. I love it. I love this. This makes me happy. So now we're managing VRAM, right? So now I guess the next thing to do to really prove the concept is to have a second tile set for this sandy zone, and probably to draw my own tiles. Styromes is nice, but I would like my own art here. I'm not much of an artist. Bobius made sense to you? Perfect. I love it. If one person gets something out of this, then that is a very good outcome. It's a complete bonus if anyone else does. Okay, so we've done it. We've fixed it. I'm going to make this less ugly for a second. And I think the problem probably is just that I'm not drawing the connector zone, probably because I'm not setting it to active ever. That would be my guess, because in game, when we render, we check if active scene C, but I suspect none of my code will ever actually set it to active. Yeah, okay, cool. So, scene connector, game, set connector active. Now we're going to draw the connector. We'll be able to see everything. We're not going to have a little void. I mean, it's... Whoop, did we crash? Might have crashed. Okay, well that's not ideal. That was a really hard crash as well. That was odd. Let's see if that was a fluke. But that's not good. Yeah, that just completely killed it. Okay, lovely, lovely. So something about game render. Let's see if we actually ever log this, or if it's just kind of, you know, a bit of weird. Draw scene C. Draw scene C gets called. But as soon as we try and actually draw scene C, we appear to explode. We appear to implode. Which isn't good. Which isn't good. Okay. Log debug. Self name. Let's go back down the debug logging rabbit hole. I've been here many times. And let's see when this halts, when this explodes. So it seems like we get out. Oh, this is probably more, because this is just a complete halt. This is probably our draw never finishing. We're probably stalling at VSync. Okay. This is a bit deeper than I think I can go into today. I suspect this is just having too many tiles in one drawer. For example, if I maybe go, but I should be clamping it all. It doesn't really make sense to me, does it? Let's just kind of put in and out markers here. And you know, I can actually debug Lua a little, but it's very slow. It's actually extremely slow. When I try and run Lua with debugging stuff turned on, it really slows to a crawl. Okay. So we finished. Yeah. So this is almost definitely hanging on VSync. Let's just see how bad it looks if I turn trace debugging on. Let's see how bad it looks. Okay. I can't. It's too slow to move. This is quite excessive. Log. I think if I pipe this out to a file, maybe. No, okay. Our logging is just out of control. This is cool. I think I'm gonna do with this another day. It's been lovely. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I've been going for just over an hour. Nice. It always kind of flies. But that is unfortunately all I'm going to have the energy for today. I need to rest. I need to look after myself. Like I kind of mentioned, I've been a bit unwell. So, this has been lovely. This has been really fun. Put it on a button. The trace logging, yeah. The problem is that I hit, like, we just completely die the second we try and draw any of these tiles. So it's hard to really toggle it in a meaningful way. I guess I could tie it to a specific X value as well and just try and dump that frame. But anyway, I probably should write an interface for, on condition, dump a frame's worth of trace data. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely not hitting any kind of hardware limit. The problem is the way I build draw buffers, the way you build draw buffers in general is just kind of fragile, and if you get any of the numbers wrong, but because you have to split draws once they hit a certain number of calls into multiple draw buffers, if you get things wrong, the GS hangs, and if you wait for VSync, you will literally just, your program stops. But anyway, yeah, thank you everyone for stopping by. Lots of really good messages, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the engagement. Be sure to like it, be sure to join my Discord if you want to come hang out. We've got some people sharing cool projects they're working on now, which is really exciting. Let me grab an invite link real quick. Come hang out, it'll be fun, it'll be fun. So, thank you very much. Where's my face? Here's my face. Thank you so much. I'm Tom.